Welcome back to the Air Force Aid Society Respite Care Workshop, Part 2. Just to recap, the first portion of the presentation covered the purpose, the background, the goals, the eligibility, the challenges for the FMP families, and the starting of the partnerships and responsibilities of all the medical professionals in the respite care assistance process. And just like EFMP and the family advocacy, the Air Force member and family also have a responsibility in the respite care assistance process. As you can see, they need to schedule and keep the appointments. They should complete the required intake forms or the online application, provide good and accurate information and the required or requested documentation to each agency. The member and the family also must find their own care provider. Neither Air Force Aid nor the staff at the Airman and Family Readiness Center will recommend a particular person to use as a care provider. The provider the family chooses must meet the member and the family's criteria, and one they feel is qualified and have no reservation about leaving their special needs loved one with, and one that can provide care on the date and times the family needs the break. The provider must not be another parent with a dependent in the EFMP program and must not be a relative of the member or spouse. The amount per hour requested by the provider must be within the $20 or less an hour, and they must be willing to accept the payment of once a month or every other week. The member and the family will present the information on and the signature on the caregiver verification form. They give the signed and completed form to the Air Force Aid Society worker. Deliver the check when issued to the caregiver within a reasonable length of time. Utilize all the referrals provided and attend a personal financial readiness session or other financial counseling class. Using the referrals and getting the financial guidance will help the family become more financially stable and prepared for the time they are no longer in the Air Force. Now let's talk about the caregiver. Each caregiver the family chooses must also be in agreement in this 5-way partnership. They should provide good quality care, not just be a babysitter. The caregiver should charge a reasonable fee to match their skills with the EFMP medical situation and care required. They should keep good records and accept the Air Force Aid Society payment terms. They should complete the caregiver verification form in a timely manner with accurate information and not be a relative of the member or spouse or another EFMP parent. For the Air Force Aid Respite Care Program, much of the responsibility falls upon the Airmen and Family Readiness staff, as you are the main support center resource network for all the Air Force families. As with other Air Force Aid programs, the oversight of respite care is the responsibility of the Air Force Aid Society officer. The respite care paperwork and procedure is the same as with any request for financial assistance. You check the Air Force Aid data system for prior assistance, loans or grants. Check for the information on the member and the Air Force first. You must have a case, so the application for financial assistance must be completed, either the online or a hard copy. This should be completed by the member when the member is present and not on a deployment or temporary duty assignment or serving on a remote assignment. When the member is not available, the spouse can complete the application. You need to conduct the interview and obtain all the pertinent information. The application must be thorough with the basic information on the Air Force member and family. Is the member's military status correct on the application, indicating a regular full-time active duty, or does it indicate activated Title X Guard or Reservist? Check to see if the family information is on the application. Are there other children, and are the ages listed? Is this member a single parent or married? Suppose the family shows up and they have no respite care certificate. That may mean that they have skipped a step in the process, enrollment into the Exceptional Family Member Program. This is required for all full-time active duty members. And at this time, the activated Guard and Reserves are not required to be enrolled in the FMP program. Even if you have to refer the family back to the EFMP office for the enrollment, you can still provide a brief explanation of the Air Force Respite Care Program at this time. Explain that it's based upon the need for time and financial need. The financial need is based upon a budget and will only be necessary when this is not the very first time a family has received respite care from Air Force Aid anywhere. Budgets and their importance will be covered later. Let's talk about the payment terms. The caregiver must accept once a month or every 2 weeks. Of course, you know if there's a different caregiver used every week, that means a lot of checks will be issued for the families. If the family has the respite care certificate that has been completed by the EFMP, review the certificate. Look for the basic information on the member. Is the relationship, age, and other information on the special needs individual listed? Do you understand the medical situation, or has the EFMP medical or the doctor written the information in medical terminology only? Do you need to contact the EFMP or the person signing the certificate and ask for clarification and for the information in layman's terminology, limitations of the ill person, or other problems it may be causing? Having your own comfortable understanding of the medical situation will allow you to make a good decision on providing the assistance and or present the request to Air Force Aid headquarters and be a good advocate for the family. Airmen and Family Readiness Center workers also need to look at that certificate for the recommended hours per week and duration. Does it fit our max of 8 hours a week and 3 months at a time? Air Force Aid Society considers the average number of hours per week to be from 4 to 6 and the average cost per hour from $8 to $10, and that's worldwide. The maximum amount provided by Air Force Aid would be $20 an hour, and this is for extreme cases, multiple medical conditions, usually requiring a more professional caregiver. Each certificate should be for 3 months at a time unless special circumstances exist. Look to see if the EFMP medical person has signed the certificate and provided the contact information. After reviewing all the information on the certificate and answered any questions the member or family may have, provide the family a listing of other resources both on and off base. Social Security for their supplement. If there's a state, county, city respite care program. Sometimes the Easter Seals or the March of Dimes also provides respite care. Give them information about your local Special Olympics and any other support programs in your local community. Now these are when you get a case that needs to be called to Air Force Aid headquarters. When it's an unusual situation, recommendation is more than 8 hours a week. The duration exceeds the 12 weeks or 3 months period. This is the member's third assist in the same 12-month cycle, and that means all loans and grants through Air Force Aid. The total of the respite exceeds your 12-month cycle of a $1,000 grant limit. The total loans and grants in the same 12-month cycle exceeds $1,500 for the Air Force Aid Society Assistant Officer, $25 for the Air Force Aid Society Officer, or $4,000 for the Staff Advisor. What if the total of all the members' assistance when you run a query is more than $5,000? That's when you call Air Force Aid Headquarters. What if the EFMP dependent is in school or has alternate care provided other than the parent? Call Air Force Aid. You should meet as an Airman and Family Readiness representative with the Exceptional Family Member Office, medical folks, and family advocacy at least once a year to discuss the Air Force Aid Respite Care and to communicate just basically on what's going on with the program. And please publicize the Respite Care program. Now it's down to the responsibilities of the final partner in this, and this is Headquarters Air Force Aid. We should provide the guidance, distribute all current information and resources, or provide the location of where the information can be found, explore other resources that may be available, review and upgrade the respite care program as needed. We should establish internal and external professional relationships, approve the assistance, and last but not least, provide the funding. Here's the required forms and documents. The application, either online or hard copy that you scan in later. The latest leave and earnings statement. The respite care certificate. The caregiver verification form from the caregiver. And the respite care installment form, and that is an internal form only for use in tracking the payments to the care providers. There's another document out there called the Helpful Information for Caregivers. It's not required in the process, but it is an exceptional good tool for the families and the caregivers to use. Now, early on we discussed it's financial need based for the respite care through Air Force Aid. And this talk about when to budget and not to budget. If this is the very first respite care assistance and all the eligibility requirements are met with the certificate and everything, the amount is $1,000 or less for the 3-month period, then you can do it. No budget is required. This is when a budget is required. If it's for a continued respite care and at least twice a year, a current budget. And we budget for several reasons, because it's needs-based, it helps identify the impact of all the medical expenses, and helps the family plan for the future, because we all know that living paycheck to paycheck is what a lot of our families do. And this helps you to see if they are one that needs a little bit more extensive financial counseling, also to work towards being self-sufficient in the future. Now, here's some important final reminders. Air Force Aid will not provide funding for a babysitter for healthy children. We won't pay a relative or another EFMP family to provide the care. We will not recommend specific caregivers, and we will not pay more than $20 an hour. But Air Force Aid will pay for on and an off-base or off-base provider. We will encourage the use of referrals, encourage financial counseling, provide the funds for relatives to travel to help with ongoing child care needs in unique situations, and we will help with other medical expenses or medical needs. Here's an example of some special medical equipment and medical expenses. Past due medical bills for an EFMP child, and we will help purchase special medical equipment such as the cranial helmets, communication devices, special feeding chairs, weighted blankets and vests, wheelchair lifts and conversion vans. And one I want to call your attention to is look at the special shoes for braces. TRICARE will provide the braces but not the special shoes required to go with them. So always call Air Force Aid if that is the family's need. And here's the final. Respite care is not an ongoing benefit. It's to help during times of need, to help those who cannot afford to pay a caregiver on their own, provided to those with the proper referral from EFMP, medical, or family advocacy, to help the family with other identified medical expenses. Have any questions? Please call the main number in our casework department, or call me, Marty Bentley, at Air Force Aid Society headquarters at my direct extension at 327-3042. And my final information or statement to you is, go forth and do good.